Hi, Vanessa. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. It's been a while. I've been following you on social networks since you came to the Voices office. What was it now? 2 years ago? 2 years ago?
Or maybe it was last year, I think.
Was it last
I'm
year?
not exactly sure.
Yeah, time flies. Anyway, for those of you who are not sure when it was, go and check out the video and check online. Um, Back then, you impressed me because I could see your ambition just coursing through your veins, really, and I knew that you were gonna stay the course. You weren't going to go anywhere. You weren't going to fall off, as it were. And you haven't. You've announced that you've got a show on Amazon Prime, the Inspiring Vanessa Show, your
Yeah.
own name. Congratulations. Talk about bringing that to life and just what that meant to you and the journey. Because I saw under your post on Instagram that it means a lot to you. This is a big thing for your family.
So yeah, it was kind of it was a long process, you can say, because there's so many different things you need to make sure. Like, I think Amazon Prime, they obviously have to, when you put a show on there or you start to download episodes to it, they obviously need to go over it and review it. So that took quite a while as well, even though there's nothing that I'm posting there that is kind of unsuitable for it. But I felt like it was a very big thing because obviously it was one of my biggest dreams to kind of have my own show. And to kind of start it off on Amazon Prime was just like an amazing kind of thing to have going. But me and my mum are very big like advocates for like working hard, obviously, and also just kind of working towards your dreams. So on the post that I did on Instagram, I think my mum did it on her post, I think on Facebook as well. It was kind of like, people don't give you the opportunities, you need to kind of create them for yourself. And because I feel like throughout my journey of speaking over 4 years, I've met so many different individuals. So many of them have either helped me, said they would help me and haven't, or people just kind of praise you but they don't want to take action like towards actually supporting you. So I felt like having that show kind of proved to those people like, well, actually, if you're not going to give me the opportunity, I'm going to create it myself. And that's when I'm going to start getting more opportunities from that, because over obviously my speaking journey, my age has either been a massive advantage or a disadvantage. Because if it was a disadvantage, if I went to an event or somebody messaged me on Instagram or emailed us and said, we would love for you to come and speak at this event, they're like, okay, this is the fee, this is if the travel expenses, if the event is really far. And they're like, we don't have it, we have a budget. So it's kind of like we didn't get that many opportunities because people didn't really see how important it was because of my age. Yeah, I worked as hard as a normal adult and I would speak as much as a normal adult. So I felt like having that show there and creating that show was a massive like learning process. And I think it's just amazing. And I'm so happy.
Let's have a little look at the artwork that you put out on social. It looks fantastic. When I saw it, I was really proud. And what I want to know is what can people expect from the show, Vanessa? What's the
What can
content?
people expect? I think the main things people are gonna get from it, or what, when I was creating the interviews or kind of thinking about who I'd be interviewing. For me, always looking on television, and me and my mum don't even watch television that often. It's either just like X Factor, Britain's Got Talent, or Love Island. Apart from that, we're just on YouTube or Netflix or something like that. So I felt like when I was watching television beforehand, there was never really something kind of more dedicated towards younger audiences, but still kind of teaching them things that the adults would be watching, if that makes sense. So I wanted to create a platform or to create a show out there that would bring interview sorry, that would bring interviews with these inspirational people, but also seeing their perspective on different like things that are happening. So, for example, one of the interviews that is on the show right now is with one of our friends, Adam, and we were talking about knife crime. Obviously, that is very predominant in London and in the UK. So, I think just kind of using their journey to allow more young people to kind of get a clear vision of what they would like to do, because I feel like when I started going to those events, I obviously got that kind of information and knowledge about it, but so many other kids, their parents don't have a personal development journey, or they're not going to be taking them to events most of the time. So I felt like for me to kind of give more young people that kind of chance to get that knowledge and get that motivation. So I think the main thing about it is that it's amazing for young audiences, and it's still kind of touching on those important subjects that we should raise more awareness about.
Talking about raising awareness, as I said, I follow you on social. You've been very busy over the last couple of days. Before I get into just exactly what you've been doing in terms of joining protests and marches and stuff, I really want to find out, just from a young person's point of view, how the last week has affected you. Because as an adult, I know how it's affected me. I won't go into that. That's not the story here. I really want to know how you've been impacted by just the incessant imagery on social networking's timelines, and just how you've managed to keep a balance and stay positive, because you clearly have.
I mean, I was extremely outraged, as everyone else was, not in just the UK or the US, but globally, because of the death of George Floyd. But for me, I was like, why is it just now, after his death, people are suddenly starting to realize what's actually going on? And so many other victims have been murdered and have been killed because of the color of their skin. I never understood it, and I truly never will. But we are all the same. We all bleed the same. We all have the same heart. We all feel the same. We all have dreams and goals. So why is it that just because of the color of someone's skin, that could be seen as a weapon? If that makes sense. So for me as a young person, I am mixed race. I am biracial. So my mum is white and my dad is black. So maybe if it were a long time ago, I would have been more discriminated because my parents mixed races, if that makes sense. So I felt like the Black Lives Matter movement was always something extremely close to my heart, and kind of seeing the protests that were happening. I told my mum beforehand, I really want to go to one, but I don't know what it would be like, because this was my first time ever going to a protest before. So I didn't know how it would start, who would start doing the chanting, what kind of posters we had to do, or where exactly it would be. So for my mum to kind of be like, okay, despite the fact it could be slightly scary, I feel like the protests are much more peaceful in the UK rather than the US. I've just kind of seen that on social media, so I kind of got that idea from it. But then my mum was like, okay, if you go to this one today, which was on Friday, and you really enjoyed it, or you want to go onto another one tomorrow, which was yesterday, then we can obviously post on social media, and then we can also kind of raise more awareness about that. So when we went there, it was just an absolutely like powerful atmosphere. I've never seen anything like it before. The one in Parliament Square, there were thousands and thousands of people. I couldn't even like start to process how many people were there kind of preaching the same message. And I feel like specifically in the UK, sometimes people are very distant, or they can be very negative. So to see so many also young people there at the event, to kind of raise more awareness about that and really fight for the justice of these victims, I think was so powerful. And the one I went to, I believe it was kind of based, well, we walked from Marble Arch to Buckingham Palace. So it was a slightly smaller group, but there was still like hundreds of us like chanting, and then you could see people filming. So I think there really is going to be the start of a revolution. And you can truly say that, because especially amongst this generation right now, people say Generation Z or Z. We can be very stubborn sometimes. If somebody tells us we can't do something, we'll want to fight for it more. So in this way, our flaws are the very things that are going to create that change, and is going to create that sense of equality for all people, across all races, across all genders, across all religions. So I think it is really the beginning of something new, the beginning of something different. This decade is going to be something is definitely going to change. And I felt like the protest definitely kind of reassured me on that.
There's going to be a lot of people watching this interview that are going to want to know more about you, Vanessa. Where can they find out more and tune into what you do?
So I'm on all social medias. My Instagram is @InspiringVanessa. My YouTube channel is Inspiring Vanessa as well. Twitter is @InspiringV10, and also my TikTok, which I'm pretty active on, is @InspiringV.
Believe me, if you're watching this interview, this young lady is everywhere. Right? I pop up at social events and I'll see her either on the red or black carpet, depending on what events we're doing, and she's interviewing people and stars, networking for her age. And how old are you?
13.
For her age, she's extremely active. Listen, talk about future ambitions and what the next, maybe year or so looks like for you, Vanessa, because obviously we're in a changed environment. Coronavirus, COVID-19 has had an impact on the world, and I guess what you've done over the last couple of days makes that an even more significant and brave thing to do, given the circumstances. Talk about what you'd like to get your teeth into in the next couple of years, given you've achieved this Amazon Prime platform. I know your ambitions don't stop there, though.
And they do not. I have so many goals and dreams, as well as like short-term and long-term goals, but specifically for like this year now, kind of move towards like more future. But for this year, we want to hit 20,000 on Instagram and 10,000 on YouTube. So I believe last week we hit 6,000 on YouTube, so that was amazing. Very, very happy about that. Thank you. And then Instagram, we're currently at 14.8, and it's been going up quite a lot. I think when I was posting more about mental health, I think lots of people kind of heard of me more from kind of that post and kind of talking about it, still being kind of transparent towards other people. But in terms of like futuristic goals, I would love to get into the acting industry. I'd love to be a successful and famous actress. I think most young people would probably have the same goal as I do. So over quarantine or lockdown, I've done a few self-tapes, which has been very exciting to do. Also, I'd love to clearly be a TV presenter. I kind of already am, because I have my own talk show, but to kind of go onto bigger platforms and interview like more celebrities, or kind of have a show to kind of talk to people, I think would be amazing. Or to just have like those big kind of conventions for kids, or like Nickelodeon shows, or like the Capital Summertime Balls, like things like that, to kind of be able to be a presenter for those type of events would be insanely amazing. But just different events like that would allow me to kind of reach more people, something that I'm definitely striving towards.
Well, good luck with all of that.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll be covering you a lot more in the future. So if you ever need anything, just reach out to The Voice Newspaper, but we're watching. All right?
Thank you so much.